What's up, everyone? This is the Go Along Podcast. I'm Tyler Dunne here with Jim Monos. Jim, we're a little late on the wrap up from the games, but there's enough going on. I think people have an appetite for it. It was crazy. How you doing? How's life?
Life is good. I think sometimes, we like the instant Sunday night, let's hit it, we're fired up. Sometimes when you do take a couple days to kind of take it all in, things calm down a little. You kind of get a better feel for where you want to talk about some other things. It's like right with press conferences after a game, give them some time because they're fired up.
The cooling
But
down period. I don't like it. I want to get right in there and talk to these guys in the heat of the moment. I want that emotion right out of the
you got me fired up. I just saw Towson State. Towson State was given 15 to Coppin State tonight, college hoops. And I just saw the final one by 16. So, Tyler, it's a good night.
Well, I was just going to ask you about Coppin State and how they were looking this season, so that's a natural transition.
This is what happens on Tuesdays, the life of a gambler. Tuesdays, man, it's just another work night for us. You got it. But
But I was
no,
pretty
it's
worked
been
up. I just had to bring it to print. I was worked up about Zach Wilson, his
talk
comments,
to me a
his
little bit. You were,
performance.
yeah, I
It
want to
was
hear
brutal.
this.
I mean, I think that, well, first of all, we should, at the top of the show here, once again, say that this podcast is fueled by our friends at Fatty Beer Company. So, Fatty, get on in. Orchard Park, Hamburg, Elegantville, Kenmore, Rochester, Columbus. They're all over the place. Advent calendar, a beer a day through the month of December. Get your Advent calendar at Fatty. And then also, I don't know what your schedule's like. I'm going to be there Sunday, Jim. We're doing a little blood and guts. If people want to come on
So
out, buy a
we're
signed
gonna talk.
copy, drink some
We're gonna
beer, we'll be
yeah,
there.
we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about it.
Um, all right. So, yes, I think Zach Wilson is the story out of this week in the NFL. And it's still a story. As we record this, the Jets are still figuring out what in the hell they're going to do at quarterback, which is kind of interesting. But Jim, I know we tend to be prisoners of the moment at times, but the games have been that crazy this year. At least I'm a prisoner of the moment at times. Zach Wilson, that might have been the worst performance by a quarterback since
Man,
Nathan Peterman was trotted out as a starter. One of those two times possibly. I mean, it was bad, really bad. 9
that's
of
an
22, 77 yards, 34 of those yards on an underthrown, like
underthrow. Just
oh, just
terrible.
just
Right.
brutal throw. 2 picks drop, 3 points, 10 punts, and as everybody has seen by now, what was asked if they could have done more for the defense, and it was no. No, he was sounded pretty pleased with this performance.
It was everything's fine.
What
I
did
would
did you
say
watch
I
the
like
game?
that.
Did you see his
Yeah, I
performance at
was
all?
able to follow that one on Red Zone, especially because I had the Patriots -3, so I was definitely into that game. But I like the Peterman comparison as far as just a monumentally, unforgettably bad game. Only difference is they drafted that guy to be their franchise quarterback.
Yeah, yeah.
Peterman wasn't supposed to play his rookie year, if ever. He was drafted to be maybe a number two at best. So that would be where the expectations. But I think you've heard on this show, and you've heard me talk about Wilson from the time he was drafted till now, seeing defenses. The game has been too fast for him, and he never sees anything. Tyler, he hasn't improved at all. And the physical stuff, get it. We know he can make throws and all that, but you got to do it. You have to see it, throw it, anticipate, make your players. They have weapons on that team. Get them the ball so they can make plays after the catch. He does nothing right now. Nothing.
It was an abomination. I mean, it was dreadful. It was dirt and balls low, sailing passes high, staring down a guy, throwing it over his head. They definitely drafted him as a poor man's and turned out to be a homeless, ultra homeless man's Patrick Mahomes. If that's probably being too kind. Just a homeless man. A homeless man, Johnny Manziel, maybe. That would be
Ooh,
Zach Wilson.
he has that Manziel kind of. I like that. Kind of that lack of self awareness right now.
But worse, right? Because I mean, this was bad. Where you're hoping to take a guy that's got some improvisational ability that can run around, play backyard football. You can see the thinking where They thought this is where the game was going. I did. I, I liked the pick at the time. It seemed like, okay, here's an outside the box kind of pick. This is a quarterback that sees the game through a different lens, right? That it's second reaction, third reaction, being in sync with guys outside the confines of a play. Well, I think we see more and more. There's only one Patrick Mahomes. He's in a league of his own, and he'll be often imitated, never duplicated. I'm all in on what Kurt Warner always says: take the quarterback that thinks the game and takes his layups and reads the field and does everything Joe Burrow does. Um, because I don't think it's going to get better for Zach Wilson. It really isn't. I mean, this is who he is. You missed out on Justin Fields, which is
Can you
something that you
imagine
were
that?
banging away at on this podcast. You know what
Well,
Justin Fields is. You've seen it at the
yeah.
highest of high levels in college football. Zach Wilson was at BYU. You're projecting this, projecting that. I don't know. I mean, I guess at this point, he started 20 games. The longer you stick with him and the longer he's this bad, it's just ego. It's just you're a GM and a head coach just trying to stick with a bad decision. I don't think this is Tua. So I'm going to have a big series on Tua Tagovailoa at Go Along
It's
here in a
not.
couple days. And it's different in that, in Tua, we saw it. We saw it at Alabama from the moment he came in against George in the national championship game all the way through, and then he wrecks his hip. He suffers an injury that ends careers. He has a coach who doesn't believe in him at all. He gets zero support from Brian Flores.
Yeah.
So I think he got to really. There's a lot of gray area in terms of how long do you stick with a draft pick at quarterback? How long do you trust that guy? How long do you support that guy? Surround him with weapons. And then at what point do you have to just say, this guy stinks and he's not going to get better? I think the Jets are very close to just needing to at least bench him, right? You don't need to just cut him, but at least bench him because you have a team that can win now. If you're a defensive player for the Jets, what are you thinking right now, Jin? Like, what,
Okay,
what the hell are you thinking right now?
two things from what you just said. The Tua stuff, real quick. We talked about this from day one. Is what did we always say? Hey, I'm not judging him coming off that injury his rookie year. Hey, we saw good, right? The play action stuff was there. You saw it. The things you didn't see were the decision making and the turnovers were showing up for him. He's cutting back on that now. And the talent, we all saw the talent at Alabama. It's there. It's not special talent, but it's damn good. Like damn good. And I like the way he seems tough. He seems fearless to it. He has that team bought in. Flip it to the Jets. To what you just said, they have to bet. You can't, he hasn't earned, I don't care. His draft status doesn't earn him anything to that team and to what you just said, to that defense and to the other coaches on that staff. You have to look them in the eye. All these guys, no. You can't play Zach Wilson right now. It's
He's
not to say
killing
he
you.
can't get better, but you can't play him right now.
I mean, they're 6-4, I believe, Jim. I mean, if they have
They're in it.
anybody else at quarterback, really, I mean, I'd say if they have even 27 or 28 of the other starting quarterbacks in the NFL, they're 8-2 at least. I mean, both of those Patriot games could have been wins. He gave both of those games away, which is, I'm all over the place. I mean, did Bill Belichick just ruin Zach Wilson? Did he just break Zach Wilson? We've seen this.
Like
Belichick's broken coaches and quarterbacks time and time again.
it's like that. Yeah, that's going to be like the cover of his book, like quarterback killer. Before they even get to year two, like just I destroy rookies. That's a hard one for me to answer because I mean Belichick obviously does it. Here's my least favorite thing that people say about Belichick. My least favorite thing. He takes what the other team does away. Whatever they do best, Belichick will take that away. I don't know a damn coach in the history of sports that doesn't try to take the best guy away. What does that mean? What does
It's
that mean?
true.
Seriously. Like so when you play the Bills, are you going to try to control Josh Allen? Bill, are you going to try to take Diggs out of the game? That's your game plan. I mean,
Hey,
I'm just saying that doesn't seem. I hate that. I think that's not giving him credit. I think there's more to his madness, however you want to say it, to design in a way to just completely make some of these young quarterbacks look bad. If it was that easy to do, every coordinator would do it. And Belichick has proven these young quarterbacks don't see out there.
You're so you're so right. It's simplistic to just say that. There's something going on. And I
He's
look
gonna
at this Jets roster. I mean, you Quinnen Williams, star D tackle.
oh,
Sauce Gardner, best rookie in the NFL at corner. DJ Reed, pound for pound, one of the best DBs. He's been sensational this season.
sensational.
CJ Mosley at linebacker. There's a reason Belichick's saying he's as good as anybody we play against as a
He
player.
is. He is. If
Uh,
he can stay healthy ever, he is. He is that good. He was that
maybe
good coming
people even
out too.
remember. I'm sorry, Jim. Go ahead.
No, I said Mosley was that good coming out too. We just Jets and he's been hurt. He is that good of a player. Like it's. I hope it'd be nice to see him make the playoffs.
Yeah, and I just remember Michael Carter the second, the DB, when we talked in the offseason, saying that they could realistically flip this division. He thought that this defense that was god awful last year. I mean, they were last in points and yards allowed, both categories, for the first time since 1975.
Mm.
Yet he really believed in Robert Saleh, the scheme, and what they were bringing in, how they were practicing. And we're seeing they're one of the best defenses in the NFL. It's incredible. I mean, look what they did to the Bills and Josh Allen. So I just can't get out of my head what it's like to be a player on that side of the
Oh,
ball, holding the Patriots 3 points. And all of these guys are listening to every word that their head coach says at a podium, that their quarterback says at a podium. And the exact question from Connor Hughes, excellent SNY Jets beat reporter, he asks. I mean, and honestly, it's a layup, right? I mean, this is he's floating this one up there to Zach Wilson to hit out of the park. I mean, it's not a
look.
got you question. It's a
No.
very fair question.
Yes.
Do you feel like you let the defense down at all? Was the exact question, and Zach Wilson just said no, no, and then that was it. So if you're a defensive player and you
The,
just and you're 6-4, you should be 8-2 at least. You held the Patriots to 3 points. Your quarterback currently ranks 31st in passing yards, 32nd passer rating, 34th in completion percentage, 34th in touchdowns amongst qualifying quarterbacks. He's the second overall pick. He's been hot garbage all year.
here.
I mean, this could break the locker room. This could break the team for good.
Yeah.
That one
Well,
word no could sever and dismantle that locker room.
best way to answer that question would have been real simple. Did you? Well, how they phrase it? Did you feel like you disappointed or let the
Do you
defense
feel
down?
like you let the defense down?
The answer is no. I let myself down and the organization down because I am the reason we're losing, and I have to play better for us to win. Take it, own it, and let everybody on that, let all those defensive players hear you own it. You don't have to say, because honestly, you didn't let that. You don't have to say you let the defense down because they have a job to do. You didn't do your job, and just say take it, just take it. You don't have to put blame on anybody else, or say you let anybody else down. Own it, and I think the defense would say, all right, well, at least he knows it.
Yeah,
That's how I would.
because
That's how I would have liked to have seen him answer. But
he's a smart guy too, right? I mean, he comes from an
yeah,
affluent family, and obviously
that's
everybody's
where.
saying this week how privileged he was. I'm just my
Yeah,
point is it's not like he misspoke. It's not like
no,
he was rushed into something, and
he's
he's able to think for a second and process all of that. You're in the New York market. You have God knows how many handlers telling you what to say, how to say it. If anything, you're going to go to the other extreme. It's strange. It really
strange,
is.
strange.
Um,
Yeah,
I just
you
remember
can't play
too,
him right now.
but and this is nothing new, right? Like out of BYU, I think we had heard some of the same stuff out of what scouts were seeing, what they were saying about Zach Wilson,
Yeah.
not necessarily a player teammates gravitated toward.
Yes. Remember we said at the pro day, I was told he was by himself, didn't hang out with any of his teammates. We talked about it, and I said that was strange for me to hear that about a quarterback.
Yeah.
But it is funny how little things like that. I think it's why people are fascinated. Why I love scouting so much is to see. It's like putting a story together. You know, you get everything from the school, and then you make your evaluation, and then how's it going to play out? Where did it go wrong? Did we know? Did we know Zach Wilson? You know, all this stuff is being talked about right now. Like all this stuff. I think about Sammy Watkins after that story you wrote. I mean, we put all that. We didn't know that was going on with him. So you can do all this work and not really. Point being, he's the face of that franchise. He's the quarterback. Time to put a pause on it.
We know what he's doing away from the field, right? That was
That,
well reported, well noted
and
ahead of this season. He's
yeah, nothing wrong
with
there.
his mom's
I mean,
friends, right?
like I said, I think the mom probably had something to do with that, but I think
Yeah, I
she
didn't
had.
really
I
dig
think she.
around that one. Didn't dig into those corners. Not sure what went down.
I'm not digging. I'm going off of just pure gambling instinct. So wait, all right, Tyler, hold on. This quarterback class that we keep talking about from that Zach Wilson, Trevor Lawrence, Fields, Trey Lance, Mac Jones. I've been really fascinated with these quarterbacks this year, especially I keep hearing about Daniel Jones. This is what I wanted to talk about. Are you ready to switch a little?
I want to get back. I want to maybe not redraft, but talk about these quarterbacks in the draft. But
This will be quick
go
then.
wherever
This
you
will be
want,
quick.
Jim.
All right, this will be quick because I need to get this off my chest. You can't lose at home to the Detroit Lions, worst defense ever. And I can't keep hearing that you are having your greatest season ever and you are going to be the quarterback of the future for the Giants. All of a sudden, a team takes away Saquon Barkley. The Detroit Lions did the Bill Belichick defense and took away the Giants' best player. And Daniel Jones can't beat Detroit at home. I'm good on it, Tyler. I'm just tired of some of these guys getting passes. Saquon Barkley, I was hard on him before saying I didn't think he was. I thought he was just a home run threat. And after what he's done this year, and we talked about, he's an MVP candidate, all that. He looks like everything you could want. He's better. He trained. So people have said this before that you can come back from injuries better because of the advanced training that you do. You get a year of you're not getting your body beat and you're just physically training. He looks different running the football. That being said, if your franchise quarterback can't do anything against a horrible defense when they take away Barkley, move on. Seriously, move on, Dable. I hope they do because I love Dable. I love what they're doing on offense. They're gimmicky enough to make people think Jones is going to be the guy. I don't know what more proof you need. The proof would be this. The proof would be this. He has to get it done from here on out. Okay. You can't, you have to get your team into the playoffs after what you set up for the first half of the season. Okay, you have your unacceptable loss to Detroit. It happens. Now if you're a true franchise quarterback, bounce back, get your team ready for the playoffs. All right, that was my vent.
I like it. It's wild too because he threw for 341, obviously trying to
Oh,
come back
study
into the game.
Tyler, study
That's where
stats, study.
stats are so misleading because up until
Check.
this game, you look at his numbers and he
I
only threw two picks. He went one, two, three, four,
I
five,
know.
six,
I
six
keep
games in a
hearing
row
about it.
without a pick. You know, he's running for first downs and key moments.
It's one of the best things he does is run. Maybe the
I
best thing he
agree though.
does.
He's getting maxed out in an offense that's taking advantage of every
I like
ounce
that.
of talent he has.
I like that.
And Dayball and Shane know that, right? Like they're not.
Have to. There's no way that he was. I don't think they took that job. I think they took that job saying, let's see, let's see, let's see. Why not? You know, you have basically it's a wash. You know, you're not going to be judged on Daniel Jones. You didn't draft him. Let's see if we can make him good. Now they say, hey, we know what we can do with him, but he's not the answer.
Yeah. I don't think if you were to trade for an AJ Brown or a Tyreek Hill or a Stephon Diggs and do the things these other teams have done that are trying to decide
Mm-mm.
what to do a quarterback, I don't think that's a move that just takes Daniel Jones to the next level.
I don't either. Like the way
I
the
mean,
Bills
Dave
brought in
Gettleman tried to do
Diggs.
it with Kenny Galladay, right? And
Mm,
it blew up in their face.
yeah, he's not that either. But kind of like what the Bills
Yeah,
did. You're saying like with Diggs. Like,
yeah. Yeah,
all right,
I'm with you. It's going to be interesting to see what they do. I mean, they're going to make the playoffs, right? Barring a complete collapse.
it has to be a complete collapse.
Although the Commanders look pretty good right now.
Well, I don't even talk about that. Like for Ron Rivera, how did you? I mean, that he has that team. That's Heineke's team. Like, and he's not good enough either. I'll just say it. I love the guy.
Hey, easy.
Love him. I
Okay,
just when I say yeah, but
2021.
yeah, the 21 draft. Let's go. Let's
So
go. Let's start at the top.
this is where it gets interesting. If we're going to talk all players, I think I mentioned today on the old tweet machine that there's going to be teams that regret passing on Justin Fields. And there are a few people, I mean, they're right. Like, oh, who's going to pass? Like, there were some really good players taken ahead of Justin Fields.
No
But
doubt.
we all know how important the quarterback position is. And there were teams that needed a quarterback that either took somebody else or, took a lineman, took a corner, took a tight end, and they're wishing they would have gambled on Justin Fields. I'm not anointing him by any means, but you've seen
No.
enough to suggest that there's some hope here. I mean, you've got $100 million to spend for next year. You've got a coaching staff that gets him. And we know that accuracy can improve, and he missed some throws. He absolutely missed some throws.
Yeah.
But he also apologized to his teammates in the locker room. Like, I think there's some natural leadership skills to Justin Fields that Zach
He
Wilson doesn't
doesn't
have
hide.
and never will have.
He doesn't hide. And that team, you can tell that they believe in him. And you're 100% correct on he's not really even close yet as far as he's beating you on pure athleticism right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can't make a living that way. Cam Newton, eventually found a way. Lamar finds ways. Hurts finds ways. Josh Allen, to be honest, because he has the same skill set where he can just beat you running with his pure athleticism. But eventually, to win the Super Bowl, you're going to have to find a way to make those throws. He makes it was funny, and I think I talked about this before. He'll make one or two throws a game that very few people can make. Like he will rip a whole shot in between coverage, and you're like, man, there's what can't he do? It's almost everything else. It's the short game. It's the quick anticipation, hit him in stride so they get after the catch. All the little things that when teams throw the ball in first down because it's a give me easy 5 yards. Sean Payton used to say that's easy five. Can Fields ever make an easy five? That's the stuff that we're going to want to see him develop. Right now, it's just pure. It's everything I kind of talked about. If you're going to take a shot on somebody, that's why not?
Somebody that has an elite trait to him. And he
And
does.
Tyler, here's why I felt confident at least saying that I would draft him that high. I remember Vince Young, and I remember us having concerns with Vince Young. And he came into the league and pretty much was dominating. Cam Newton, people had concerns. I didn't, but people did have concerns. Came in, did his thing, got that team turned around. There's just certain things that you don't want to overthink sometimes. And I talked to you about this on a text, but when a guy is just a physically gifted freak, athletic, big arm, legs, stop overthinking it. Try to find a way to work with that as a coach. Like to me, work with that because these are the guys. Look at the best quarterbacks in our league right now. I mean, Joe Burrow is probably the only quarterback that's not like a physical, just arm athletic. He's good at everything, but he's not Herbert. He's not Mahomes. He's not Josh Allen. He's not Aaron Rodgers with the just blow your head off throws that you've never seen before. But what he is just so consistently incredible.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's Burrow. But my point back, take the physical dominant love of football. They win in their college. They take their teams and put them on their back. Auburn stunk. Texas. I don't know if Texas has been good since Vince Young left.
I think that Vince Young is an interesting name to bring up because it also takes knowledge that this quarterback that has an elite talent to him, a physical trait, whatever it is, athleticism, a big arm, is willing to bust ass in year 2 to year 3. Vince Young wasn't, right? He just didn't work as hard in the offseason as a lot of these other guys. So it's one of those tragic cases where he could have dominated for as long as Cam Newton did and done a lot of the same things if he was in the right system too. It takes all those other factors, but I just think that's what you have to look at too. And I feel like Justin Fields, everything you hear about his work ethic, it's there. Like this is a guy that
Oh yeah,
not only does
that
he
was
have
there.
this gift, but he's going to use that gift. Where on the flip side, EJ Manuel, who we had on, I mean, nobody would question his work ethic, right? He
None.
worked incredibly hard and was an
Incredibly
incredibly
hard.
good teammate, a leader,
Everything.
but he just didn't have a gift. He just didn't have that to him. So if you can have both, you've got a shot. Josh Allen, he worked at it. He went with Jordan Palmer. He improved his accuracy. Um, does Zach Wilson strike you as somebody with a gift and B, a willingness to
No,
maximize
there's
that
no
gift?
physical. There's no physical. Just like yeah, I've never seen anything like it. I see the good arm. A lot of guys have good arms. Um,
Trey Lance is a mystery. We just haven't seen
yeah.
him,
So yeah, I agree with that. Let's more to come. Real
which is
quick on
part of the
Fields.
problem, though. Too. I mean, he was a mystery coming in. He didn't play other than
They
one
they
game was
wanted him
last year.
playing from. They wanted him playing last year. I agree with you. He's they're concerned about him. The other thing with Justin Fields, real quick to finish him up. Let's not forget his rookie year was a complete waste. With Matt Nagy and that whole disaster they had going on in Chicago. This is like his rookie year with a new staff. So I'm not even going to judge him really until next year.
Yeah, it's true.
I'm
It's a
for
great
me, that's
point.
how yeah. I mean, think about what he's doing with a new staff, Tyler. He, I mean, and they're not that. I like Montgomery. I like I like that tight end, Komet. I like that Mooney's good. They have some receivers. They're not but that team isn't. All
They
right.
traded for
So
Claypool, but they aren't doing anything with him
which
really.
he's just a big wideout.
Where they're going to run into trouble though too is they have all this money to spend, but there aren't. Last I checked, there really aren't big name free agent wide receivers this spring. So they might
and
have to. They're going to have to get creative, like the Dolphins and the Bills and the Eagles did. They're going to have to trade for somebody if they want to get a stud.
I think the Bears need to commit to somehow building the most badass defense they can find and do what you can with Fields.
Maybe that's what you do.
Yeah,
Pour your money into
I
that.
wouldn't mess with a receiver yet with Fields. He has to prove that's going to make, that's going to put him over the top. I don't think that's what puts him over the top.
Okay.
I think he needs to find a way to make the throws that are there when he has a chance. Don't turn the ball over like we always say with everybody. But he's going to do things that other guys just can't do. You can't put a value on that. Sorry. All right. So we went to Trey Lance. Sorry, I cut you off on that. I
Well,
wanted to
no.
finish
How
up
about
Fields.
if you were to rank these five, just
Yeah.
1 through 5, how would you rank them right
I,
now?
I just did. I'd go Fields, Lawrence, and then there's a gap. And then I would go Mac Jones. And then I would go Zach Wilson, Davis Mills, Trey Lance.
Wow. Not high on Trey Lance.
No, he hasn't done anything yet. He hasn't played. He hasn't played. I'm just saying because he hasn't played. I didn't like him coming out though. But
You didn't.
I didn't. I didn't see it. I
Neither
just
did
saw
Chris Sims on our podcast. Remember that?
yeah, no, we were wrong at that one. He liked that Sims like that Texas A&M dude.
And he liked Zach Wilson big time. I think Zach Wilson was his number one.
He was. But you know what? Look,
And
it's hard. It's
hey,
hard. It's
right?
hard.
And maybe we're killing him too early here. Who
No,
knows?
we can't.
His career's not
Let's not.
over.
Let's. I'm with you. I'm just saying I would bench him this year and then
Have you
just
watched
try again
Lawrence?
next year. Yeah, Lawrence is. You know what it is? It's frustrating. There is good. You see some of it. You do see some really nice throws. There's no consistency in his game. Period. Herky jerky sometimes, if that makes sense. Like his game is kind of just like it's just not tight. I don't see all the touch when he needs touch. Everything is a fastball, it looks like right now with him. But he's tough. He's trying. There's still something there with him. I'm not giving up on him because once again, just like Fields, a wasted rookie year.
Totally agree. That could be a team that
Yes.
is a wide receiver away too. I like
I like that
Christopher,
better. Yep.
but it's hard to say because they did pour a lot of capital into that position, but they don't have a true stud number one. They just don't. Yeah, I agree with you.
He'd be a guy worth trying that with. To me, I roll the dice with Trevor and give him because still young. He and Fields, all these guys. All right, go to Mac Jones. I know you're dying to talk about Mac Jones.
Oh, I'm never really dying to talk about Mac Jones. There's more interesting topics to be
That
discussed
came across
in
wrong. I don't
general.
think you've ever. As soon as
Just
I said that, I
dying
was like,
all day. I've been chomping at the bit to talk Mac Jones.
I'm not
He's
sure.
very
Since I've known you, the only thing I
you
think you've
know,
ever died to talk about is
you know what
Mahomes
Mac
and
Jones is? My every time Gina goes to Wegmans and she's like, "All right, what do you want me to get?" And I don't really know. She's the foodie, not me. I just
yeah, you're not.
every
You don't. Yeah.
I we always joke like she lives to eat and I eat to live. And so I'm like, you know what? Just soups and sandwiches. I'll
Mhm.
just, get the turkeys and maybe some London broil and, some chunky soup and I'm good to
I like
go.
the
And
one.
then dinner, whatever we want to whip up. I mean, that's Mac Jones. Just, sandwich.
Just
You
shows
might
up.
maybe, yeah, just some Wegmans deli meat. That's Mac.
I like that. You just
It's not bad. It gets you
no.
through the day, right? You're you're hungry, you satisfy your craving, you get back to work, and that's about it. That's what he is. We know what Mac Jones is at this point.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. It's not terrible. It's just not. It's not cracking. It's not showing you a big ceiling right now. It's not getting you excited. It's not making you feel like we have our guy. I don't think any of these teams. I don't know if any of these guys have made their teams feel like they have their guy.
I guess Belichick's thinking was the Joe Burrow lane that we've got an intellectual at the position that will dissect you and break you down and find your weakness and attack. And he's just kind of been what everybody else thought he'd be. Which, hey, the Patriots, they're fighting like hell. They've got a
Fighting
great
like hell.
defense. Matthew
Fighting like
Judon
hell.
probably should be Defensive Player of the Year. They can win this way, uh, but a first round quarterback. That's whenever you take a quarterback in the middle of the first round, right? You're kind of having the same conversation. It's very early with Kenny Pickett, but I mean the Steelers are
He's
probably going to be in the same boat.
he's. I will say this. He's not ready to play right now. I told you the first game I watched. I do like his toughness. He just showed me that toughness, and the moment wasn't too big for him. But he's not ready. He's not seeing things quick at all. They actually had chances this week. Like they could have beat Cincinnati this week. They had chances. Um, but Pickett isn't. He's not. He's just not quick enough as a decision maker right now, and he's not special enough athletically or anything else to overcome that lack of just speeding. Playing with quick reads. Um, I don't want to. I don't like giving up on young guys, but
Oh, I'm not giving
he's
up. I'm just saying
no. I know you're
it's a
not. I'm
more
just saying I don't want
nuanced
to.
conversation. You can't.
Yeah.
You're not just saying, "Oh, damn, we got our guy,
Right.
and we're
Right.
going to surround our guy, and let's
No.
take
No.
advantage of this rookie contract." It's
Yeah. I'm glad they're playing him though. At least the Steelers are playing him.
last thing on the 2021 class because there were some really good players taken. So just to recap, I'll rattle it off quick. Jags went with Lawrence, Jets Zach Wilson, Niners Trey Lance, Falcons Kyle Pitts, Bengals Jamar Chase, Dolphins Jalen Waddle, Lions Panay Sewell, Panthers J.C. Horn, Broncos Patrick Surtain, Eagles Devontae Smith, Bears Fields, Cowboys Parsons, Chargers Rashawn Slater. I mean, studs. There's a lot of
That's
great
a kind of a
players.
that's like big time historic draft right there.
I
Parsons,
feel
Parsons
like though,
alone, Parsons and Chase
yeah, oh yeah,
alone.
yeah. But the quarterback position being, as crucial as it is, what teams should have taken Fields?
Atlanta,
San Francisco, the Jets, obviously, Atlanta, not the Bengals, not the
no.
Dolphins. I love Penei Sewell. We wrote about him at Go Long. Incredible story, badass tackle. What's
It's not
their plan
him.
at quarterback?
It's not him. It's the value and the lack of court. Right. It wouldn't be that Sewell's the bad pick.
Right,
It's
and that's the
just
point.
right.
Yep.
Yeah.
J.C. Horn, same thing.
Same thing.
Tan, same thing.
Honestly, that's a great. You just brought that Carolina bad, really bad.
Yeah.
Fields would have worked, especially think about replace Cam Newton.
Yeah. Although I don't know, we saw the news today. They're turning back to Sam Darnold. I think this is the time. This is when it all comes
I know
together
I
for
said it
Sam
on one
Darnold.
podcast this year. I think Darnold's better than Mayfield, but that doesn't mean anything. That's
Hey,
that.
when
What burger is
I'll
better between Burger King
it,
and McDonald's? Same thing. Same. It's the same thing.
yeah. Belichick broke Darnold too, right? That's kind of when it really started going south, and when he was seeing ghosts on Monday Night Football, and
That's right. Another one. Put him on the list.
it's a long, long hit list. But yeah, it's an interesting class. You know, obviously let it play out a little bit, but there's enough, as the scouts like to say, there's enough shit to Justin Fields' game, right? There's enough going on to get you excited.
I think that's a good way to look at it. Enough going on to get you excited.
I know there's some other things you want to get into, so that's enough of that class, Jim.
Yeah, we don't
Where
have
do
to
you
go.
want to take this next?
We don't have to go too far. I think I was just the one thing I was laughing about the 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 Houston Texans are pathetic.
Oh,
Nick Casario, think about so he gets his GM job away from the Patriots, right? I was thinking about this. This Casario, they took Sony Michelle in the late in the first round, I believe. Nick Chubb was there. Like, why does that not get talked about as one of the worst? So obviously they were looking
yeah,
running back. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? They had Michelle evaluated over Chubb, who is clearly. And I just laughed that these guys kind of make a pick like that. Now he's running the Texans. So what does he do? Brings Cully in, fires him, brings Lovey in, fires him. Herm Edwards is probably next. Whoever they're who you just every year you're just gonna bring in. I mean, what's happening in Houston? How does he get this job? What are they building? Like what? At least in Detroit, you can see Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell at least are kind of synced up. Like they're on the same page, like we talk about. Cesario and Lovey and Cully and this thing is, I just get, and then like we talk about the big four, right? Owner, head coach, GM, quarterback. They're 0 for 4, Houston, and it shows. That is a horrible, horrible franchise.
yeah.
Sorry,
It's
that's
about
all.
as
I just
bad as
wanted
it
like
gets.
I look back. I was like, how does Cesario get credit? Like in the interview, if there was an interview, it probably wasn't even an interview. The owner probably
Jack
knew.
Easterby, who's not there anymore.
Right there, it is. I'd be like, hey, yeah, we'd love to hire you as our GM. Why'd you take Sony Michelle over the NFL's best running back?
That's what's wild about the New England Patriots. I mean, whatever they have cooking there, it only works when Belichick is running the show. I mean, every coach who's gone anywhere has been terrible. Same thing with personnel. I mean, really, name one assistant coach under the greatest coach of all time who has done anything as a head coach. Anything.
Is your guy in Minnesota part of that tree? Was he part of the Patriots at all?
No.
No.
Kevin O'Connell
I didn't know if he was
played
ever
for him. He
there.
was backup quarterback.
So it
It
doesn't
just
count as a
doesn't. It doesn't
trade.
work. It doesn't
Mm-mm.
work. It doesn't work anywhere else. So yeah, Cesario is Casario or Cesario.
I think I always said Cesario, but I don't know.
Okay, you'd know better than me.
No,
You've
I
seen him
might
out on the
not.
scouting
I didn't
trail.
really know him that well, so I don't. I didn't really run in his circle.
Well, that says a lot about him as a GM. But people don't even he. Yeah, I mean that's an abomination. I mean that's a reason to not get hired as a GM. You take Sony Michel 31st overall in the 2018 draft. Ahead, by the way, ahead of Lamar Jackson, who went 32 to the Ravens,
Oh, that's
and
all.
then two more picks, and then the Browns take Nick Chubb. I mean, Nick Chubb and Sony Michel are in the same Georgia backfield, the same backfield, and your personnel acumen said that he was better than Nick Chubb. It's unbelievable.
Anyway, all right. So what do we got this weekend? What do we got? What do we worry? What's the big? What are the big? Or what do you want? What's next?
Did you want to hit on Najee Harris as well? I remember the
Terrible pick. Like it goes back like first round. He is a hard. He's just a hard nosed running back. Like if you're building for the future, right? You're the Steelers. So they drafted him knowing Ben was on his way out. How did they think a running back was, you're building for the future in the NFL right now. How was that your pick? So I just feel like now, I just think some of these GMs need to be called out a little bit more. And I'm not trying to say they're not, everybody misses, but I'm just, let's talk about the misses a little bit. Let's bring it to life a little. And I'm only
agreed.
talking first round stuff because after the first round, I don't, whatever. But you've put that much value in Najee Harris that he just, like I said, he is a downhill, tough runner that you would love in the second or third round.
Yeah, the speed was never there. I mean, he's kind of that a lot of Bama backs. You see that, right? Great offensive lines, holes you
I
could
don't
drive a
know.
truck through. Hard runners, tough, violent, physical, all
I've
that.
had, I've been a very good, I've had a lot of success with Alabama over my years. I didn't like Trent Richardson coming out. We drafted Mark Ingram in New Orleans. I was there because we loved and we hit on that. Then
Yeah,
I missed on Derrick Henry though, as far as when he was coming out. I didn't think he would be this good.
Eddie Lacy was good, but he couldn't keep his weight under control.
Which which
He
was
didn't have the
everybody
speed.
knew.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's definitely individual basis, but
It is,
I
but
don't
to your
think I
point,
don't think
they,
Harris
yeah,
ran a 40. I don't even know if his speed was really documented. It was kind of a
smart,
mystery.
smart, but it's not like it's not even it's the speed's whatever. It's not the, but he's just not dynamic enough to say he's gonna. Their offense is just still terrible to watch. But
One
yeah,
more
sorry,
pick that doesn't get talked about is can you imagine Jonathan Taylor in the Chiefs offense, Jim?
Brett Veach, who I've told you before, ultimate respect, incredible GM. You could have Jonathan Taylor for a guy you just benched for a seventh round pick.
Clyde
Edwards-Helaire just got
Edwards-Helaire.
benched, yeah, for the Rutgers running back. Anyway, I just wanted to bring some of that. I think some of that's
Well,
fun to at least bring up sometimes. And these are the best, like these are some of the best, like look, the Steelers have done it. They're obviously always one of the best drafting teams. The Chiefs draft well, but that's how hard it is. They're still missing in the first
it
round.
is. Man, I think a
Sorry, I
lot of
just
it
like
too
bringing,
is figuring out how
yeah.
these guys are wired. Like we were talking about those quarterbacks earlier, and is this somebody willing to work in the off season? That's a big part of this Tua story. And I sat down with his off season trainer that some Bills fans may be familiar with, Nick Hicks. He's always sparring with Bills fans on Twitter. It's such an unbelievably fascinating guy. Um, but the work that they really put in a crucial offseason, this past offseason, I think will open up people's eyes. Like it was targeted at exactly what Tua needed to improve on, and he owned it. I think all these guys have egos. You have to have ego if you're playing quarterback in the NFL. Like to go out there with these dudes who are the biggest, strongest, toughest, meanest humans on the planet. Like, yeah, you better have that to you. But you better also look in the mirror and figure out what you got to get better at and attack it in the offseason. That's what Josh Allen did with his accuracy, and that's what Tua Tagovailoa did with his arm strength. So yeah, whatever these, as a scout, like, yeah, the tape's going to tell you a lot. An interview at the combine might tell you a little. They're going to be coached up. Like Jimmy Graham was joking in the Blood and Guts, right? Like his agent told him exactly what to say. Oh, I love to block power. Like a lot
He
of this
didn't tell him
stuff's
about
BS.
Gravis Vasquez. He didn't tell him about Vasquez from Maryland.
Yeah. But you don't really know what's ticking inside. You don't.
Don't. You don't. It's the hardest part about it and that's I think I just was excited to at least talk about, just bring the light a little bit some of these things it could be. When you think about Chubb and Taylor on, like,
Yeah.
the last thing, I'm trying not to talk about Mahomes all the time. Is he actually getting
We haven't
better?
talked about him a lot this year, really.
Because you know why? I think I thought it was done as far as he's the greatest, whatever. I think he's actually getting better.
Oh,
Is it possible that he can get better?
he is.
How do you beat them? How do you beat them? If
I don't
you
know. I
only way
mean,
you beat, I'm convinced the only way you beat them, the only way is if and when he does one of those wild throws that always are completed. But if you have a chance to get that pick, you better get it. Like
yeah.
if you don't turn him over when you have a chance, I don't see how you beat them.
The
And
Bengals
I'm
turned
saying
him
that
into
thinking, and I'm
mush in
saying
that
that
second
thinking,
half somehow.
I mean, what more could Herbert do? And I mean, not that I thought he, but Tyler, he is. I've thought about this with Herbert too. He is. I mean, he's top five quarterback right now. He's right after Lamar for me. If
Is
Lamar
he
is
really?
four, Herbert's five. He's that good.
What about the big plays out of Mahomes? I mean, they lose Tyreek Hill, the
Doesn't even
best
matter.
big play receiver in the NFL, and he threw for 329 on 20 completions. I mean, you're talking a 34-yarder to Kelsey, 29-yarder to God, Justin Watson,
Oh, it's
a 40-yarder to Jody Fortson, right? Like it was. I mean, these are guys, and yeah, I think he's been better. I agree with you, and it's something
I
we should
just
explore deeper.
there's no way the Chiefs could beat the Patriots though, because Belichick will take Kelsey out of the game. I don't know if you know this. I don't know if you know this about Belichick, but he will take that best player. You won't even see him. I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back, actually. I'm going to go back and try to look to see if the best player on every team actually ever had a good game against Bill Belichick. I have a feeling
Dude,
some of these good.
yeah, Stephon Diggs, yeah, last
Yeah,
season just took him out of the
no,
game.
it doesn't exist.
Hey, to
Anyway,
Belichick's credit though, he let the corner Jackson walk, so maybe they got a shot against Diggs because he ate his lunch. Um,
Belichick's, and don't, I do think he is a great coach. I'm just saying it's a little over the top with the.
well, it's laziness. I mean, these talking points just get regurgitated
That's so
in
lazy.
sports
That's my.
media,
That's
and like
exactly right.
people hear it, it enters the ether, and it just gets repeated and repeated and repeated, and it
Like,
becomes like just the topic du jour, and
it's almost what happened
it's
to Tua.
laziness.
It's almost what happened to Tua. The arm strength thing took on a whole new world of itself,
I
which
know. Yeah,
nobody really worried about the arm. I mean, nobody ever thought it was the greatest arm, but it never looked fatal flaw bad. It was just, who cares? The arm was fine. It wasn't special, but it wasn't
because
terrible.
people would see a clip on Twitter, and it became the number one
He
story in
doesn't have
America.
he doesn't have the arm strength.
Yeah.
It's the best. It's the
Um.
best.
You know what's funny though? AFC West, Chargers, Raiders, Broncos. I wonder what the final tab was for the amount of money they all spent on players to catch the Chiefs. And it's over. It's done. We're 10 games into this thing. Over. Vince Carter. Done. Dunk contest is over. Like nobody's touching the Chiefs. Go ahead. Khalil Mack, Chandler Jones, Russell Wilson, Randy Gregory, JC Jackson. Go have fun. Good luck.
Only one team can beat him. Buffalo.
Wow. Oh, well.
All
We
right,
might have
sorry.
to
I will
carve out
save that.
another
We'll
hour
save
for that
that for
conversation.
we'll save that for later.
Cincinnati and Miami. Don't sleep on Cincinnati and Miami.
I'm not. I'm not. And Miami too. Cincy, Miami, Baltimore.
Is there a game this weekend that you want to hit on real quick that you're looking forward to?
No. I do love Thanksgiving though. We do a my family, we do a parlay every year. We call it the family parlay because we start at, you do the games all the way up. We try to hit each game, and it's fun to see.
Okay.
Actually, we've hit a couple the last couple of years, so the pressure is on me to hit the family parlay this year. And Bills Detroit to kick it off, 12 noon.
Don't
Bills favored
sleep on
by
those
9.5,
those
10.
Detroit line. A 9.5 seemed like a big number, doesn't it?
I agree. Coming off a short week, that's a big number. I agree.
Lions looked
Yeah, I'm
good.
looking forward to the Denver
Desperate
Broncos.
team. 4-6
Tyler,
with a little bit of hope.
I can't wait for the Broncos Carolina Panthers game this week. That's the game that we all need. Darnold getting the start?
He's getting the nod. He's getting the nod.
Does Hackett make it through the year?
No.
They blew that game,
No.
Tyler. Like they really did. I'm not trying to be hard on Hackett right now, but that game was theirs to win. Like it was a gross game but once again, he goes for the win on 3rd and 10. It's hard to do. I like that go for the win tough guy. But when your offense stinks, sometimes you got to play percentages to me, and you have a great defense. And they do. They have a legit great defense.
They do.
All you had to do was punt the ball or run the ball there, let the clock help your team out, help your defense out. All right. I'm ranting.
Well, he's not calling plays anymore, so
there's all the cliches when it's not calling plays, firing the coordinator. Would Kingsbury just fired a O-line coach? I mean,
yeah. When the Titanic is sinking, it's
when do you want to get off?
You're fighting for life rafts.
When do you want
climbing over other people to get to the
right. So basically, it's Doug Marrone leaves, Rex gets fired. The Titanic, it was sinking. Whaley and I were just, when are we going under? We just kept seeing all the we were surviving.
You're holding your head above water, gasping
you
for
can only
air.
see so many head coaches switch those seats every year before sometimes you got to look at you're like, okay, I think my seat might be next.
Oh my God! Hey, take it easy on yourself. Matt Milano had a hell of a game.
Hey,
we're seeing remnants.
We went out
Robert
in style.
Woods. What about Robert Woods with the Titans?
Well, that's a Buddy Nix draft pick.
Oh, that's right. That was the year before you. Yeah, that's right.
Buddy Nix and Whaley was there for that. So Whaley and Buddy Nix did a great job. Yeah, and
Marquise Goodwin.
That Buddy Nix, Whaley again.
Yep.
Marquise Goodwin has had those were 2 really good picks.
Yeah.
Really good picks.
Oh, that seems like a good place to stop. What do you say, Jim?
I like it. So we had Mac Jones as Wegmans.
Yeah.
And Whaley and I were on the Titanic.
I like it. Yeah. Well, you landed safely here on the podcast, so things worked out. Things worked out swimmingly, if I may. Have fun with the family. Everybody out there have a fantastic Thanksgiving.
I know you guys have had a long. Yeah, it's been a lot too. So I hope you get some time to enjoy it.
Appreciate that, man. And we'll be the fam is coming out too. Fatties Sunday noon.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you know.
Blood and guts right here. We'll have them in boxes. Can't wait to meet everybody. So we'll see you then.